Welcome. I'm Lakeland Union High School Principal Justin Zeus, and on behalf of all of the staff and students here at LUHS, I want to thank all of our veterans and active duty members of the military for your service to our country. It is because of your hard work and sacrifices that we enjoy the freedoms that we hold dear today. Thank you for taking the time to view our digital Veterans Day presentation today, and we all hope that we can get back together in person again next year to honor our veterans and all that they've done for America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there,
It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He graduated from Lakeland Union High School in June of 2019 and shipped out to the Navy boot camp later that summer. Upon completion of boot camp in late October of 2019, he was sent to Monterey, California, where he is stationed today. He is nearing the completion of the Russian Studies program he is currently in and has been assigned a leadership role as a section leader in his class. Please help me welcome active duty United States Navy and LUHS grad Blair Dunbar.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Блэр, моя фамилия Dunbar. Сейчас я курсант в военном институте иностранных языков в городе Монтерее. Я служу во флоте уже год, и мое звание матрос. Hello there, my name's Blair. My last name's Dunbar. I'm currently a cadet at DLI, the Defense Language Institute. In Monterey, California. I'm in the Navy, and I've been serving for just over a year, and I'm currently a seaman. I was born in Rhinelander, raised in Lake Tomahawk, went to MHLT, grew up in the Minocqua area. I came through Lakeland, graduated in 2019. But with my journey to the Navy in particular, my dad served in the Navy, and my brother was also in the Navy, and I sort of had that thought of I might as well do something with it as well. I had high scores, not good enough GPA to actually get where I wanted to, so I thought I can get the education that I want through the military. I had always enjoyed, German class at LUHS, and I was in German club and really enjoyed all of it, embracing the heritage. So I thought I might as well look into being a linguist for the Navy. It's been a wild and difficult road, especially in the course. There's an over 50% drop rate for this job. I definitely learned a lot about myself and the effort I could put into things. In boot camp alone, I lost 30 pounds in 2 months just by doing what we did normally. So you figure out that mentally you can handle a lot of things that happen. You find out physically you can handle a lot of things that happen. But it's mostly just mental. As long as you don't let yourself beat yourself up too much, nothing is personal. They're just trying to make sure that if you get through, that you're a good sailor, that you're not going to be a detriment to the fleet. So it's all just keeping, a positive attitude, trying your hardest. I really learned that there's a lot more that I could do than I thought I could. Definitely learned a much better work ethic now, because people are constantly counting on me getting my stuff done. I have hard deadlines that I know it would be a detriment to everyone if I don't follow these deadlines. So aside from that, actual physical skills, I was taught how to fight fires, fire certain types of guns, be able to conduct myself, stand watches where it might suck, it might be long, it might just be unpleasant in general, but having the patience now and having the know-how to, if there's any sort of problems, be able to deal with it. This is actually a fantastic opportunity. Even people that, want to go to college, some of them might end up in the military as well, whether that be officer or enlisted. One of my friends here has a doctorate in mechanical engineering, and he wanted to be a linguist. My roommate has multiple degrees. My old roommate was an accountant. They all decided this is something that I want to do. So it doesn't matter if you want to do it now, if you want to do it later. What matters is that if this is something you want to do, anyone can do it at any time. It brings this interesting feeling of of, what's the right word here? Of feeling like you belong somewhere, right? And if you haven't had that feeling before, it's a great thing to find. Veterans Day is not for me. Each part of the military has their own day. Armed Forces Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Armed Forces Day, sure, that's for us that are in now. Veterans Day is different because it is for everyone who decided to make sacrifices to their freedom to come and do whatever they could for their country. It's important because our fighting force is the greatest in the world, and it's all voluntary. No one has to do it. We're not required like in Russia or other countries over in Europe where you're required to join the military at 18. Veterans Day is important because these people chose to be something bigger than themselves to protect the rights that we all have as Americans. All of us inherently through the Constitution have our rights, our unalienable rights. And this day is very important because, many people, like my father served, my brother just got out. They gave up time in their life where they could have been doing something else. They could have been sitting around, lounging around, doing whatever they wanted. But they decided there's something bigger than me that I need to go do so that the people I care about back home don't have to worry. And that's why I think Veterans Day is important, because it's all those individuals who decided there's something I can do to make the people I care about safe. So I'll take it. I'll do it.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Detroit down to Houston and 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the
Our next speaker served in the U.S. Navy from 1992 to 1996. During his service to his country, he traveled around the world twice. He served in the Middle East, Bosnia, Mediterranean, United States, Africa, South Pacific, Japan, and Korea. He was awarded multiple service medals while in the Navy and traveled to over 30 different countries. After his Navy career, he went into the education field, where he's worked as an educator, a coach, and an administrator. Currently, LUHS is proud to have him working as an applied technology teacher. It is my honor to introduce Mr. David Weinberner.
I want to thank Mr. Zeus for the introduction. I told him I gave a Cliff Notes version of my service because I don't like to talk about it, as I didn't serve for medals, accommodations, or recognition. When I was graduating from high school, I was recruited to play college football, but felt a duty and responsibility to serve my country. And that is what I did. And I'm proud of that decision to serve and to continue serving as a professional educator. So what does it mean, Veterans Day? On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the fighting of World War I ended in 1918. Due to the conclusion of the war to end all wars, November 11th became a universally recognized day of celebration. The day was originally declared Armistice Day, 8 years after the end of World War I, and honored only veterans of that war. In 1954, after World War II and the Korean War, it was renamed Veterans Day to honor all veterans who served America in war and defended democracy. So today, we honor all of our veterans who unselfishly place their lives on the line for our freedoms. Those women and men were ordinary people until they heard the call of duty and answered it. They left their families, their homes, and their lives, not for recognition or fame, or even the honor we bestow upon them today. They fought to protect our country, our democracy, our Constitution, and the freedoms we enjoy. As we honor our veterans and remember their great accomplishments, let us also salute those who are currently serving our country and ensuring our freedoms. The American way of life is unique. Other countries have freedom. Germany has freedom. France has freedom. England has freedom. But the freedoms we enjoy in the United States are extremely special, and that is why we defend them. So now is the time to not only honor those who have fought or are fighting for our freedoms, it is also the time for each of us to take part in protecting our freedoms. The defense of our freedoms is not just for those in the military. Each of us shares that duty and that responsibility. We don't have to join the Navy or any of the other branches of the military to actively defend our freedoms. We can protect our freedoms by working to maintain them in America. If we want to preserve our freedoms, we must put them into action. For example, by voting in elections or speaking out against injustice. We must also ensure that everyone feels the benefits of our freedoms, and we can do that by volunteering in our communities, running for office, and teaching others about what it takes to support and protect our freedoms. Veterans Day isn't just a day for us veterans or those serving. It is a day for all Americans. It is a day to remember why they were fighting, serving, and a day for all of us to begin our journey of protecting our freedoms and the freedoms of future generations. Thank you for honoring our veterans and those currently serving today. Let us walk toward tomorrow still honoring them by living in the freedoms they protected and continue to protect.
It is my honor to introduce Mr. Greg Bizzell. Greg enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1968. He was deployed to Vietnam in 1969, where he was assigned to the headquarters battery of a Duster and Quad outfit, and then subsequently helped set up an armed forces language school south of Saigon. After his time in the Army, Greg jumped right into his career in broadcasting, working at stations in Madison, Omaha, Green Bay, Cincinnati, Northern Michigan, and most recently, WJFW in Rhinelander. Greg is married with 3 children and 7 grandchildren. Greg, thank you for your service, and thank you for sharing some time with us today.
My name is Greg Bizzell, better known as Buzz, and I was a Spec 5 Specialist 5th Class, and I was in the United States Army. Out of high school, I went to college for a year, and like a lot of kids, even today, I was just tired of school, so I was going to I want to take a gap year and just figure out what to do. Well, in 1967, when I was doing this, it was the height of the Vietnam War, so if you weren't in school or married, you were going to get drafted. I was a personnel specialist, and my job was to take care of the two, they were called 201 forms, which is, in those days, were the entire record of a person's military service. So it was some kind of a 4-page form that you put in the typer, but anytime they changed anything, it went on their 201 form. That way you could quickly look, and when you got a service record, and see what he'd done, okay? So we all had them. But, that was my main responsibility. But you got to remember, in a war zone, your first responsibility was always being infantry. So every time you were hit, you got a specific job you had to do. Fire being hit, you still had to pull guard duty. You still had to do the runs down to Queen Yarn to get supplies, which is 60 miles away. And since, it's Vietnam, everything outside the post is enemy territory. Part about that is, while you're there, you don't realize how bad it was in the jungle. I've learned a lot more since then, because I've done a lot of reading and looking at the history of the Vietnam War and that stuff. As I think it was October of 1969, I was asked, well, let me back up, because I had some college, and I was an E5 at the time. The Army decided that they needed to get some people to start a language school to teach Vietnamese soldiers how to speak English. Now, I did not know at the time, but I know obviously since then, that actually there was Armed Forces language schools all over Vietnam, but they were Air Force and Navy, and those people are actually trained to do that in the United States before they came over. But the Army was lagging, and we needed to get some people to teach some of the soldiers how to speak English. So they went around. They actually sent out at the time, probably a memo or something, or some kind of memorandum saying, we need people to come set up this language school and actually work with these soldiers and teach them how to speak English. I was near the end of my tour of duty, because I would have left Vietnam, and I went in January 69. I would have been out in January 70. In October, one of the guys came to me and said, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, "Sure, why not? It'd be kind of fun. You want to go set up the school?" So I went from An Khê down to Vung Tau. Now, you got to realize it was called temporary duty, so I was still assigned to the headquarters battery of the 4th 60th Duster and Quads in An Khê, but I was going to work in Vung Tau as long as I needed for it. So I got down there, set up the school, and then, well, the other part of the story is that then now you got to realize I went from An Khê with really crappy living conditions to Vung Tau, which had running water, flush toilets, showers. We didn't have to carry a weapon. We could come and go as we pleased. Nobody was armed. It was a safe place. It was in Country R&R Center. It was a very safe place. I mean, incredibly safe. As the whole time I was there, that's a whole nother story, but it's very safe. So I'm going, holy cow, I died and gone to heaven. This is cool, because I've been up sweating and stinky and, a whole different world, okay? So they had a thing at the time that said, if you want to extend in Vietnam for 6 months, you could get out of the military early. Well, that was not real. The Army and I just didn't get along, okay? Let's put it that way. But I thought, well, if I leave in January of 70, I'm going to spend 9 months in a base in the United States. I'm going to spit shine my shoes and play the military game, and I just was not into that. So I thought, well, I'm in this nice, safe place. I can go into town all the time. And we used to go eat at a French restaurant once a month. I mean, it was really cushy job. I'm being honest with you, this is a really cool job. So I extended for 6 months and so because of that, I got a 30-day leave. So I went home for a month at Christmas time. When I came back, they then asked me, do you want to be a teacher? And they said, sure, they were short of teachers. So then I started teaching the Vietnamese soldiers conversational English. I'm not sure. I just think that I got the job as a personnel specialist because the Army saw that I had good administrative and management skills. To be honest with you, that's how I got the job. Because that's not what I signed up for. I signed up to be a helicopter mechanic because my dream my whole life was to work on aircraft. So I think that I will say that not necessarily in Vietnam, but the Army showed me that I could be a manager because they sent me down to Vung Tau to build the school. I was it. You know, I mean, there was a captain there, but I'm building the school. That's a simple one, because you guys would not have the freedom you have today if it wasn't for the military. Like it or not, even though we fought a war in Vietnam, which we shouldn't have fought, we were still there fighting for freedom because we were under the assumption in those days that if Vietnam fell, all the countries were going to fall and turn to communism. But it's important to honor your veterans because they're doing something that nobody, your veteran, even your EMTs, firemen, police, and veterans are all doing jobs to make your life better. If that makes sense. I lump them all together because they're all in dangerous professions. The military is probably the most dangerous if it's wartime. So I think it's very important to celebrate Veterans Day, honor those veterans. They're treating even Vietnam veterans very well. They're now appreciating what we've done. They're thanking us for our service. You know, we're including everything. I think that's great. It's helped a lot of them. I mean, like I say, I'm friends with a lot of Vietnam veterans, and they're very appreciative that people are recognizing that now what we did for this country. And so, yes, I think it and I'll be honest with you, went in 2011, I went down to LZ Lambeau, which was a big celebration for Vietnam veterans, and at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, there was like 30,000 of us there, and incredibly moving experience. And that probably closed a lot of doors for people as far as now we finally realize we're being recognized. It's okay now. And it was a beautiful ceremony. It's incredible how good it was. So that was one of the first big steps towards equalizing us with today's veterans, if that makes sense. Say one thing is that understand that any soldier has PTSD. Okay, I have some, not as bad as some, but you have to understand that you need to give these guys a break because some of these guys are really screwed up. They're really screwed up. And again, it took way too long for the government to admit the fact that these guys need help. I can't believe World War II veterans went with zero help for all this Korean War with zero help. And it took them 30 years to start getting us help. But I have to say mine's mild compared to some, but it's important to realize that if you see a veteran struggling, help them out. Yeah. I got one other thing too, so the other thing I should mention too is realize any soldier in war has survivor guilt because it's really bad. We beat ourselves up all the time because we survived and somebody else didn't. My dad had it from World War II. My brother and I both have it. So I think you got to watch out for soldiers. Survivor guilt is a big problem. Not saying that we're gonna, we can do anything about it, but we just thank God that, I made it, and I feel bad for the ones that didn't.
Chia! Thank you.